On the other hand, I was thinking about it, and one of the things that AI has the potential to do, I think importantly, is really drive up productivity. So take the sales tool example, where maybe you're really improving the ability of your sales team to know which customers to speak with, or which emails to send when, based on a large amount of data that right now it's much harder to derive. And what that means is you have to have perhaps less salespeople, or the number of salespeople you have can cover a lot more customers, which ultimately then can drive up profitability and can allow you to do a lot of other things as a company. It might be hard to guarantee anything in that context, but the ROI is then around productivity. What got me thinking about is so often people talk about AI and they think it's going to replace jobs. Like, this is the fear, right? This is, it's going to replace each job. And my view on it is it's just going to make people more productive. Now, there's a chance, I suppose, you might need to hire less people to do the same job, but in general, it's not going to replace jobs. It's going to make just people more productive.
I think generative AI creates a range of options. Ultimately, it's the human that comes in and provides a yay and nay around those types of options.
Yeah, because there's no judgment. I mean, I think this is, with AI, I mean, we're not in a situation where there's judgment. There's still calls around accuracy, relevance of the result. All those nuances are not captured by at least AI today. It was interesting. I was thinking one of the opportunities is really around, for example, like data augmentation. I mean, one of the things, if you're in sales and you're talking to a customer, the more information you can have about that customer, whether it's public that's out there or private that in terms of the product usage that you have. But let's look at kind of the public domain. There's a tremendous amount of value to be able to talk intelligently to your customer about their problems, their issues, and the solutions that you can provide. AI potentially is great for that in terms of being able to automatically augment data and saving a salesperson a ton of time and being able to put all that together. But what's interesting is I was checking last night, ChatGPT, the data set is only through September of 21. So that also is pretty interesting. And it goes to show these language models, like, you kind of have to be pretty thoughtful about what you're expecting to come out of that, because if you're expecting any news or very current information or anything that's changing constantly, that's a good example where AI might not be very good at it because the data set isn't going to be as robust.
And data is the lifeblood of AI. AI doesn't work without data in and of itself.
That's right.
And there are situations where the data shape really matters. So if you've got certain cohorts where the data shape is a little light and sparse, AI can't go to work on that.
Right.
So that's why you see, let's say, for instance, you've got AI deployed towards detecting misinformation on the web. Well, there's not a lot of information out there to train AI on the Crimean language, which is the state between Russia and Ukraine. So AI can't really do a thing about it. Now, there are different approaches. You can generate synthetic data, again, with generative AI, but there are some limits to what can happen at this point in time.
Yeah, synthetic data, that's a whole nother category, an interesting area where, you're actually creating data to train, these models. But you raise a really interesting point, is that I think people have to understand that to make the AI model successful, you have to have a tremendous amount of data. So putting that back into a B2B context, if you have customers that don't have, let's say, consistent ACVs, or maybe don't have consistent buying, it's going to be much harder to get accurate information out of an AI model, just simply because you don't have a data set that's going to provide you the ability to predict and forecast. Now the flip side of that is, I don't know if you met with our company at Viso, they're looking at very large data sets where customers have lots of smaller customers, but many of them, which makes it easier if you're using AI and machine learning to be able to then make predictions about where things are ultimately going to go, because now you have a bigger data set.
Yeah, data sets are extremely important. It's also the variability of the data set. How much does the data vary? Do you have all of the data that is there, or are you only looking at a small sample of the data that's available to you? And I think the next mode that companies will build are the companies that have access to all of this data, and whether they have harnessed the data. So the encouragement for SaaS companies is to not focus so much on the monetization aspect of AI, but the ability to garner all of this data very quickly. Imagine if you're a call center, contact center type of an application, and you need to deploy, let's say, an assisted agent type of an application.
Right.
Now, the companies are expecting you to get started from day one, but if you don't have access to the data, it can take you about 6 months to train and learn and things of that nature. With these large language models, the knowledge of how language kind of transposes itself, you have the ability to get started quicker on all of that. So you train it based on all the global data that you have and start to provide that ROI on day one.
Specifically in terms of like, where AI can really impact B2B SaaS, I think call center is, or customer facing applications in general, whether it's chatbots, whether it's, it's on the phone, whether it's via email, I think it's a huge opportunity because you think about, like, again, using ChatGPT as an example, the language model that's built, understanding intent and patterns and understanding questions people are asking, it's very powerful. And that language is sort of normalized across their model that now everyone can take advantage of, so long as you're willing to pay for access, that if you tried to build that yourself, it would be just hard. It may be impossible, but it certainly wouldn't be as accurate. It certainly wouldn't be as good. And I'm sure we've all had experiences with IVR and call centers where maybe there is an automated or a bot kind of response, and the human sensitivity to a poor answer or poor reaction, it's very sensitive and people can have a bad experience. So I think understanding that intent will be great, but at the same time, these general language models may not necessarily help some companies where an understanding of the specifics of a product that they have that's not really contained in a language model is going to be an issue, where then you're going to have to be able to construct applications that can basically fuse the two, where sometimes you're going to be pulling from a public API probably to understand intent, and sometimes you're going to be pulling from your own internal proprietary data set, but it's going to at least constrain the problem.
Absolutely. And it's not just on the CX side, even on the talent side. Imagine the process of recruiting and acquiring talent and matching people with opportunity. Imagine, taking over, looking at the resumes and trying to parse that and trying to superimpose jobs and recommend jobs to folks.
Right.
I think there's a huge application there. On the learning side, in terms of generating automatic course instructions. So you've got instructional designers that are doing this manually. Imagine aiding them in terms of creating various different formats of courses, creating assessments, so questions. Today you walk into a test, maybe there are 3 different types of question answers that get provided to students. Imagine now that you have these assessments that are generated on the fly by looking at that subject matter that generative AI consumes.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another great example. I think in B2B SaaS is where you're going to see AI do some amazing things in its ability to summarize and extract value out of large amounts of data or text that you could do it or I could do it. It's not rocket science, but it would take a lot of time. So that kind of goes to the productivity piece. But having that embedded in a lot of these applications where, instead of looking at, we all love dashboards, right? And dashboards are great for metrics. So if you've got numbers and metrics, dashboards are great. But what if I just want to know, you had a really interesting meeting with a company yesterday, and I want to know the 3 key highlights from that meeting? Wouldn't it be great if, that can start now to get generated in a thoughtful way? And, there's a lot of cool companies that are well on the path for that, like companies like Gong and Chorus and, and others, right? And Avuma that are doing some interesting things to try to figure out how to extract that kind of information. I think we're going to see a lot of cool things there to come as well.
Absolutely. I think that's where the industry is headed in terms of, bringing some of these proprietary data sets, proprietary tuning parameters, proprietary models, and trying to create pipelines. So the differentiation between companies is going to be what type of proprietary assets I can bring to the table. Can I bring a community? Can I bring a data set? Can I now create a proprietary pipeline of multiple models kind of stitched together? Am I going to be able to generate synthetic data sets? Things of that nature are going to differentiate one company from another in the next generation of AI for X applications.
Because you said it right. I mean, I think if you're just leveraging a general purpose AI model, whether it's from Google or whether it's from ChatGPT or Alibaba or whoever comes up with their next, that's going to be hard to build anything really differentiated, right? It would be like the equivalent kind of would be like putting a Google search bar inside of your SaaS application. It doesn't necessarily really do a lot. So you got to figure out how to really stitch something together that enables you to deliver more value. And I think just building like a SaaS application on top of AI, that probably isn't going to hunt for most B2B applications. It just, because there's not going to be enough value long-term you're going to be able to
I think there's short-term value in terms of the novelty effect. And, everybody, the bar is going to be raised in terms of what knowledge workers will start to expect. This is a new calculator that we'll all get.
Right.
In terms of, we don't have to start from a blank slate. We'll have AI generate copy for us, AI generate assessments for us, AI get us started. But after that, what is the next order of value that you're going to deliver in terms of the ROI that we were talking about?
That's right, exactly. All right, well, listen, Ajay, thank you. I want to thank all of you too for watching. When I describe AI to others that maybe aren't as geeky as we are, or as interested in it, I think about really simplistically in the way that I think chess, as I mentioned earlier, is just a really good example of where AI works and how I encourage everyone to kind of think about with their B2B SaaS applications. And what I mean by that is AI works really great where the constraints are well understood. And in chess, the reason AI just dominates and has dominated for a long time is that the constraints are understood. Chess is not a game of chance. It's predictable every move, right? You know what moves you can make. There's no roll of the dice. And importantly, all the rules are understood by all players. Maybe some players better than others, but they're all understood. And that's where AI does a phenomenal job. And in B2B SaaS, I have no question that every SaaS company, most likely in the next decade, AI will be a part of their fabric. And for a company to say they're an AI company will seem as ridiculous in 10 years as for a company today to say they're a cloud company or they're a mobile company or they're an internet company. I mean, it's going to be part of the fabric of B2B SaaS.
I think the promise of AI is here, right? I mean, you're already seeing some fantastic applications of AI in B2B software, in consumer use cases, and you're going to go and see more adoption of these technologies and types of efforts in various different industries. So I'd say don't fear it, jump into it. I think figure out how we can do something more productive with it and try to demonstrate that ROI, and you'll be golden from the next era of SaaS.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening to it, please hit the like, subscribe button, share with your friends. And until next time, thanks for watching Ask a VC.
Thanks,
AJ.
Thank you.